gonna be quick. My phone's about to die. That's why. Um, I just want to say a few things about all this bullshit. Um, First of all, I have a hard time believing that they've faked it because I'm starting to come to terms with the fact that I think there really is a 24-hour sun down there. That's what the sun calc data has always indicated. I've always been kind of stubborn about even looking at the sun calc data. But dude, I mean, it's just almost proof that we're not very southern hemisphere ish in our gang because like, dude, in Punta Arenas, for instance, is getting almost 17 hours of direct sun right now at this time of year. I mean, it's like the further south you go, the more sun you get this time of year. I mean, that just seems to be kind of a fact that's been known. This whole thing is so fucking trippy because it's like, if this was their big fucking, if this was their big, like, whatever, if this was their big proof, why why wasn't it fucking emphasized before this? It just seems so fucking weird. But I'm still not convinced it's fake yet. And for one of the, I think the main reason of that is because of the fact that I'm coming to terms with, I think there really is a 24-hour sun down there. I think the further south you go, the longer the days get until you just get to a 24-hour sun down there. It's like, I have a hard time understanding why it's been 10 years now and we're just now figuring this shit out. I mean, granted, there are some flat earthers that were talking about this before, but it's like, it was kind of like Duffy put us on this. So like nobody was really talking about it before Duffy put us on it. We all just assumed it wasn't real. As far as I know, I mean, there might have been some people that were talking about it. Maybe Ronnie and Jason were. But the thing is, there's enough real world, like evidence, proof of like the longer days the further south you go. Sorry, it's going to be short because my phone's about to die, but if there is somebody watching, but which leads me to believe then why would you bother faking it if you could just go there and just take real footage? I mean, it seems. I'm glad that people are being super nitpicky about it. I want people to do that, and I'm trying to do the same thing. I don't. They're not my friends, I know them. I mean, I'm a mod on Jaren's channel, but it's not like we're buddies. I don't talk to him, and like Jaren used to hate me. Like he had blocked me from his channel at one point. So it's not like we're like tight bros or anything. Like, I don't know why he gave me a wrench. I think it's because I asked him for one day because there was hella trolls and I wanted to mod. But like, I don't really even mod on his channel. I'm not his buddy is what I'm trying to say. But I do want to believe that him and Austin wouldn't do that to us, and I tend to like Austin better. I think Austin is just more smart, but I think he kind of blew it though with the vape thing. Because I think he really did do that. I think that's real. I think he really did try to fool his fucking people and vaped right in front. Said, look, there's my breath. But I think why he did it, I mean, I'm not trying to be like fucking, I'm not trying to defend anybody, really. I'm trying to think logically through this because I think people need to like slow down a little bit, but not slow down. And I just mean slow down insofar as like throwing accusations out there. I think it's important to be like, I'm talking about this final experiment thing. I don't know if you're even hip to that. You should be if you're on my channel. The final experiment, the Antarctica 24-hour sun. It's a real big deal on the flat Earth thing right now. Yeah, it's late. I'm up late, and but anyways, hopefully you know what I'm talking about. These guys went down to Antarctica and they filmed the 24-hour sun, and it's in the news and shit, and they're saying they debunked the flat Earth or whatever. But Witsit, I've been listening. The thing is, I've been listening to a lot of Witsit lately because I'm subscribed to a channel called My Perspective, I think, or New Perspective, and he's kind of a friend of mine. Hey, Catherine MC. Yes. So the thing is, I think there is a 24-hour sun down there. I'm feeling more and more confident about that. I think that's what's really going on, and I'm not a glober. I don't think the Earth is a globe. I did at one point, I mean, naturally. Hi, nice to see you. But I think what's going on is that these guys I think Austin did that because I think Austin needs to come clean with that for one thing. That's the message I'm putting out on the internet right now. Austin, you got to just address the fucking vape thing, dude, because it's gonna be the death of you, dude. You got to fucking address this shit, man. Because I think you did vape and make it look like you were blowing your breath and tried to shut people up because you were just sick of people like questioning you and you just wanted to shut them up. I think that's why you did it. I don't think that the whole thing is fake yet. I'm not convinced. I mean, I'm willing to be convinced. Like I said, these guys aren't my bros. I'm a mod on on Jaren's channel, but he's not like my homie or nothing. We don't talk, you know. But it's like I don't like the way Jaren's acting at all. Like I was like I had to dip on his show the other night. I was like, I'm fucking out of here. This is way too negative. Like I was hoping he would be talking about some fucking shit. Like I wanted to hear I wanted to hear about his trip, but all he did was talk about how people are fucking stupid, and he's just being a jerk. And it's like I get it. You feel like sort of disrespected or something, but it's like, dude, you got to take it in stride, man. You knew that was going to happen anyways, and you're talking about the Earth being a globe after pushing flat Earth for fucking 10 years. I mean, you got to understand that's kind of a slap in the face to your people. But if that's what I mean, the thing is, he's allowed to change his opinion. He doesn't have to. I don't care what his opinion is. Like, but the thing is, with all that, it's like he's almost doing it out of like spite. It seems like he's all mad, and it's like, come on, man. Like, this is supposed to be a truther channel. Like, what the fuck's going on here? It's like, I don't try to watch a truther channel so I can hear you talk shit about a bunch of people. Like, I don't fucking care. That's not my fucking. I don't care if you think there's some stupid people. Fucking tell me something I don't know, man. Like, that's just boring for me. I'm not going to go to this channel if all he's going to talk about is all the people talking shit and he just talks shit too. It's like he's no different. Like, here's the thing. It's like when you're talking shit about people, you're projecting. And that's what really sucks. People don't realize that. Like I'm projecting right now. I'm projecting who I am to you. I'm being real. I'm trying to keep it real. I don't think they faked it, but I think that it's good that people are being super nitpicky about it. And I don't want people to stop. I want to encourage that. I hope people don't take me the wrong way when I'm not defending it so much. It's just that I'm being honest. I'm not convinced it's fake yet. But I am convinced that Witsit vaped and tried to pull it off like it was his breath. But I don't think he did that because they were faking the whole trip. I think he did that because he wanted to shut people up and he was kind of irritated. But that was a dumb move. And I thought he was smarter than that. That's why I'm kind of disappointed. But like, that's the message I want to put out here is just like, Witsit, you got to address that because like, dude, it's making you look really bad, man. And like, I don't, that sucks, man. Because up until that point, I was still like, I still hadn't thought, like I said, I don't think it's fake, and yet, but up until that point, I hadn't thought bad about Witsit at all because he doesn't indulge in all the name calling and like he keeps it like intellectually like stimulating for me. Like, but Jaren, when he's talking trash all the time, man, I can't get behind that. I can't. I'm not I'm not cool with that. I don't talk shit about people. I don't do that, and I don't engage in that. In case you haven't noticed. I mean, this is about as shit talking as I get, and I'm not talking shit. I'm just keeping it real. Like the thing is, I don't want to act any different online than I would in person, and I'm not going to try to. I'm aware that if you talk like that to people in person, it's going to be like a fist fight. I'm trying to avoid that. I want to keep what few teeth I have left. But I don't think it's fake yet. But I don't want people to stop being nitpicky about it. But I think you should wait before you jump to conclusion. I don't think talking shit is good, for one thing. I think that's where people, if people are, this, that, and the other thing, calling names and all this shit, just like take it easy on that, man. Because projection is a real thing, by the way. And like there's people like me that are plenty aware of it. And so when you're talking shit about people, looking at you going, huh. uh, okay. And that's just how I am. Man, because I've been around for a while. I'm older than I look, and like that's how it is. It's important to realize it, but that's how this works, man. It's fucking psychology, dude. I'm a reverse psychologist. I know that shit inside and out, man. And I'm not like better than that. I've been that for one thing because it's embarrassing when you look back on it later and like, oh man, embarrassing when you finally realize it. Talking trash is not the way to go, man. I mean, if you think someone's full of shit, then you can say it, but like you don't gotta like keep saying it, But it's like, what good is it to like fucking just be ragging all the time? I mean, it's like if you're trying to solve a mystery, well, that's good. Let's do it, But like, you're not gonna solve it by calling people names. That doesn't get you anywhere. It's just irritating. It's drama, and I don't like it. It's not something I want to engage in. If that's all that's happening on a stream, I tune out. I'm like, okay, late. Like I did with Jaren's stream. I was like, I gotta dip. It's bugging the fuck out of me. I don't care. I can think of a bunch of dirty names to call people. Like, is that supposed to be funny or cool or something? Like, how am I supposed to feel after watching that stream? I'm like, what about the people that aren't calling you names? There's other people watching you, that aren't calling you shills or whatever. Like, why don't you address those people instead of being a fucking asshole? It's offending. It's offending to my ears. I don't want to hear it, and that's where I stand on that. But I am super glad that people are being skeptical about it, because it does seem fishy the way Jaren's acting, and it is fishy that Witsit vaped it, and I think Witsit needs to address that. That's where I stand on that. I think it's like, dude, if you did that just to shut people up, which I think might have been the reason, because I think you guys really went and did that. I think it's real, but it's like, but I'm willing to be convinced that it isn't. If I see something that, I mean, if it's proven fake, then it's fake, and I'm just going to have to accept that reality. I have a hard time believing they would do that. I mean, I just feel like I'm a better judge of character than that. But the thing is with Jaren, like he's acting like such a punk, It's like, I don't know, he's kind of making me doubt him, But like, you can't shatter FE because it's the truth, man. I mean, I have my own perspective on the whole thing. It's like, there's no way. There's no way. Earth is flat, dude. And I know that because of distance. Distance accrues. Like if you have a perimeter around your neighborhood, that is a perimeter that's always going to be there. If you draw a perimeter around that perimeter, it's going to be a bigger perimeter. And if you keep doing that, you're going to keep having a bigger perimeter. And you keep doing that, it's going to keep getting bigger. You know what? And all that distance that you're covering, it's always going to be within that last perimeter you made. Make a bigger perimeter. It's going to be even bigger. All that space that you've already circled is always going to be within the last perimeter you made. It's always going to be there. So you're never going to be able to make a smaller perimeter around the outside of another perimeter. It's not fucking possible. It's ridiculous to even assert that. It's fucking insanity to assert that. You keep expanding your perimeter, it's going to keep getting bigger. The circles just keep getting bigger, man. They don't get any smaller. You can't make a smaller circle around the outside. It's impossible. Like if you wanted to just, okay, let's take this, start taking like certain areas. Like we're going to draw, you could go on a map and be like, we're going to draw a perimeter around the whole United States and Canada. Okay. And now we're going to draw another perimeter on the outside of that. And now we're going to keep getting a bigger perimeter. And you just start showing all the places that are within the perimeter, and just we're adding more space to this thing, and we're expanding out, and you're just going to getting wider and bigger and more vast and more expansive. You're never going to see that perimeter shrink. I mean, at the point when you run out, or if there is room to run out of, like, I don't know. I've never seen the end of the earth, but if there is one and you finally get to that point and say it's Antarctica or whatever, like that perimeter is going to be so fucking big at that point, it's never going to start to shrink. That is so silly. But that's what would have to happen if you live on a ball. They say that's what happens. They say once you pass the equator, the circles start getting smaller. I designed a riddle, but people are just so wrapped up in their minds, they can't even fucking really realize the weight of this riddle that I've designed, which is if you go to the North Pole, I want to ask a Glober this on like a debate or something. Let's say somebody gave you the North Pole. It's like that one spot in the very center where supposedly the compass would spin, You own that one place there, the one north. It's like the north. When you finally get to the north, you got there. You own that one spot. It's like a, let's say it's to draw a circle. It's a perimeter, whatever, It's like that's your property now. Now, if someone told you, look, you own this circle right here, Now, what you can do is you can step outside of the circle you own and draw another circle around that, and you own that too. Okay, you only own what's in the circle. Now, you can keep doing this. Keep drawing a bigger circle. Keep drawing. You can keep. So the thing is, all you have to do is step out of your property, draw another circle, and you own that now too. So your property keeps getting wider, right? Do you think if you were allowed to do this indefinitely that you would eventually own the whole world? Remember, you only own what's in the circle. The last circle you drew is what you own. Whatever's inside that last circle you drew. Do you think if you kept going like this indefinitely, you would eventually own the whole world? You start at the North Pole. Do you think if you kept doing this, you would eventually own the whole world? Mind you, you only get to keep what's inside the last circle you draw. It's how you answer this riddle. It really... Do you think you would own the whole world if you kept going like that? You've been given the North Pole, that one circle right there. You're allowed to step outside of the circle you own and draw another circle around the outside of the circle that you own, and now that's your property. So you can just keep doing that. You get the idea. You know, it's like latitude circles, you know, it's like it's connected. The thing is, I think the correct answer is yes, you would eventually own the whole world. Why wouldn't you? You're just expanding outward. But if you live on a globe, the answer is no, you won't. The most you would ever own is half the world, because once you got to the median, the equator, that's the biggest circle you're going to draw on the earth. After that, the circles start getting smaller. And so it's like, yeah, but what about all the property you owned before that? Well, that's the thing. That's where this whole thing breaks. The globe just falls apart at that point because your circles start getting smaller. So I guess you lost all that other property that you had before that. It doesn't make any fucking sense. You're circling a whole different area now. And now your circles start to shrink. So you should have just stopped at the equator. You would have owned the whole northern hemisphere. But if you kept going, you suddenly lose the whole northern hemisphere. Now you're circling a whole different area. It doesn't make any fucking sense, is the point. That's the point of my riddle. It's like, no, you wouldn't own the whole world if you live on a globe. The most you ever own with the expanding circle thing, starting from the North Pole, you only get to keep what's inside the soil, you see. So it's like, once you get to the equator, that's the biggest circle you make on the globe, which is silly, but that's true. It's like, what's the biggest circle you can make on Earth? Globers will have to tell you the equator, the 24,000 miles around right there. And I'm like, well, what's it circling? Well, they're like, oh, it's circling the whole world. Oh, really? So if the equator was my property line, I'd own the whole world. So my house. So what's the biggest circle you can draw on the Earth? Well, the equator is the biggest circle you can draw. Okay, so what's it circling around? Well, technically the whole world. So if the equator was my property line, would I own the whole world? See, the logic breaks. Are you following me here? The Earth isn't a globe. If the biggest circle I can draw on Earth is only circling half the Earth, does that make any fucking sense? No, it doesn't. It's like saying the biggest circle I can draw in my neighborhood is circling half my neighborhood. That's retarded. See, you have to fucking come up with some new fucking... Because they've already heard all this other shit that we always say, dude. You have to think about the reality of living on a globe. Living on a surface that forms a 3D object, certain things are going to have to happen. And it's like... And because we feel like we're standing upright everywhere we go, we're never going to feel like we're traversing around the side of a huge ball. There's a point where this whole idea just breaks. And I figured it out, but people don't even want to listen to me. So that's why I need to go on like a fucking debate or something where people have to fucking listen to me. Because what I'm saying actually fucking checks out, dude. It breaks the whole idea. It just shatters it. You can't shatter FE. The globe has been shattered in my mind forever, for good. And it's because an outward expanding perimeter can only grow. And you can deduce from that because I mean, it's impossible to draw a smaller circle around the outside of another circle. You can't do it. But you would have to be able to do it at a certain point on a globe. Because once you pass the equator, the circles start getting smaller. Doesn't make any sense, though, in reality. We're never going to be traversing around the side of a globe. It's like if I owned the entire area known as the Northern Hemisphere, if I owned all that property, it's possible I could. The equator would be my property line, right? And I'd own everything north of the equator. That's all my property. Let's say that's just, a thought experiment. Okay, say now I want to buy more property. Okay, so I'd have to step outside of my property that I own into the southern hemisphere and then start making a new property. I'd walk all the way around my old property line and make a new property line. Following me so far? So now I have all that much more property that I just added to the northern hemisphere. I added all that extra property. It's a lot. 24,000 miles around. I followed a 24,000 mile circumference. I was walking on the outside of it, mind you. But now my property line's smaller. Does that make any fucking sense? No, it doesn't. But that's what a glober has to believe would happen. See, nobody even listens to me. I don't even know why I'm doing this. I love you guys. Cheers. Pay attention to me, man, because I got some shit, dude.